The WNBA, also known as the Women's National Basketball Association,
Let's see if this guy's reason is why WNBA
is a branch
sucks.
of the NBA. But even after 25 years of the creation of the league, most people look at it as the laughingstock of professional sports.
Here is Clark. Her three. Off.
Alright, I want to pause already the context. I didn't mention context. So the context of why this video exists and why this is a topic of conversation is because of Bill Burr. The comedian Bill Burr had a statement where he basically talked about it's not men's responsibility to watch women's sports. It's not men's responsibility to, you know, provide for women's sports, and that women are the one who failed women's sports, not men. So it sparked the whole conversation that went in about, you know, the WNBA and women's soccer and things like that. That's the context for this video, and for the most part, the video is trying to explain why the video, you know, creator is trying to explain why he thinks that the WNBA fails and, you know, doesn't deliver to what, you know, the NBA wants it to deliver to, and what the women who take part in it want it to be able to do. Me personally, I've not asked, but I've seen women speak on social media about why they don't watch the WNBA. A lot of them say they just don't find it entertaining, they don't find it fun, and it bores them. A lot of men feel kind of the same way. They want to see people who are like shooting these nice threes. They want to see people who are doing, you know, some great acrobatic dunks and showing off just mass athleticism. And you see none of that. You see some threes, but you don't really. There's only ever been like 3 dunks in the history of the WNBA. When you consider the fact that the WNBA was created in '96 and in 2022, there's only been 3 dunks in the league's entire history. You're not really going to pull people in because people want to see that athleticism. The WNBA really lacks athleticism. That's the biggest reason for why, you know, people aren't really drawn into it, because it lacks, you know, the ability to see people perform these athletic feats that we're drawn to. Because as humans, we're drawn to gladiatorial things. So why gladiatorial existed back with Rome. We want to see people do athletic shit and do it great.
Why is that? Welcome back to Triple Double, and in today's video, we'll be talking about why the WNBA is the worst sport in the entire world. Comment down below what you think about the WNBA.
The sad thing is, his comment saying it's the worst sport in the world isn't even a stretch.
The WNBA? Why is it that almost immediately following the end of the NBA playoffs, the sports world becomes dry and boring? Sure, there's baseball and tennis and golf, but hasn't the WNBA made a name for itself yet? In a sports world where everything seems to come to a complete standstill.
That's the thing. How many women who watch sports in America can do what I just did there? Name players, but just by seeing them running on the court like
so again, I ask, what's really wrong with the WNBA?
A lot can't.
Is it
a lot of women can't even name
everybody? Surely in the land of the free, in the land of equality, women's
I'm
sports are
going
just as
to get a
important
name
as men.
because of the whole political thing
It's
with
almost
Russia.
amusing how people will give these ridiculous
Skylar
excuses
Dickinson
to why
on
the
that side.
WNBA hasn't succeeded, all just to avoid controversy. But let us be real today. The WNBA is failing because it's boring. Let's not beat around the bush. Women's basketball
when he said
is
it's boring,
basketball in
here's
its
what I think.
purest
I
form.
think
the way
the WNBA could have had, I might mention again later, could have had 2 moments where it could have become, well, still one of those moments could still happen, where it could evolve into a more athletic sport. There was 2 girls in particular who could have evolved, or who could evolve the WNBA. Those 2 people were Gigi, who passed away. Gigi is Kobe Bryant's daughter. She was really good. She definitely could have been someone who would have evolved how women's basketball was played. But, you know, unfortunately, Gigi, she passed away with her father in that helicopter crash. The other person is Paige Beckers. Paige Beckers kind of plays and has that swagger. A lot of the people in WNBA don't have swagger. Paige has swagger. She has that Steph Curry swagger. I mean, and that's a big thing, because that confidence, that swag that someone will have as an athlete, it draws people towards the player. Now, Paige plays for the UConn Huskies, so she's still in college. And I think she actually just got injured not too long ago, but she has the potential to be someone who could, you know, evolve women's basketball, you know, if things pays out the way it looks like for her. Now, she won't be someone who could do what I mentioned before, you know, dunk, but she's someone who could be basically a Steph Curry for women's basketball.
the game is supposed to be played. Okay, so why doesn't anyone like it? Well, ask yourself, would I rather watch Sue Bird take a great pass from one of her teammates and finish her layup? or watch Tracy McGrady grab the board, lead the fast break, and finish with a posterizing dunk on Sean Bradley. Don't get me wrong, I like women's basketball just fine and all, but ask me to watch it outside of the NCAA tournament, you gotta be kidding me. So when I hear the lovers and apologists start giving me excuses like everybody goes on vacation in the summer, so naturally ratings will be lower, I chuckle a little inside and try to keep an understanding face. Ultimately, the WNBA is gonna have to find something or someone to market. Enter Candace Parker.
That's the big thing. Before he talks about Candace Parker, who's amazing by the way, the big key for WNBA is marketing. The reason why it struggles isn't because men don't watch the WNBA. It struggles because it doesn't bring in revenue. It doesn't have, the sponsors to generate enough money, and it's just a poorly marketed thing. It really needs to figure out that whole marketing aspect of pro sports. A lot of pro sports market themselves just by existing. It doesn't have that luxury. It doesn't have the luxury of marketing itself by just existing. So you have to figure out ways to make yourself noticeable. An example I keep using when this conversation comes up is women's soccer. Women's soccer was kind of in the same position as WNBA, where it wasn't getting enough viewership, wasn't getting enough revenue. And instead of, basically asking for handouts, women's soccer took things into their own hands. They went out there and got deals done. They got a deal done with Paramount, CBS, and they got deals done with Fox Sports 1. They went out there and decided, hey, we're going to start live streaming the NWSL, which is the National Soccer League games, on Twitch TV, the same platform we're on right now that I'm doing my live stream on. The NWSL decided to start doing live streams on Twitch. Not only that, you can co-stream their games, which no sport league does. No sport league allows you to co-stream a game because they want you to be watching Fox, they want you to be watching CBS, they want you to be watching, ESPN, etc., etc., etc. So they went out there and themselves put themselves in position to be seen for free on Twitch, and with Paramount Plus, and with CBS, and with freaking Fox Sports. So women's soccer has done all these different things to basically get attention on themselves and show people that this is not only soccer, but it's soccer without the bullshit. As in, you're not going to see Alex Morgan rolling around on a pitch after getting like her toe stepped on like Neymar. You'll see that with. You'll see Neymar get his toe stepped on and act like he got shot in the freaking throat. You won't see that with women's soccer. You're seeing soccer at its cores, and you're also seeing it at a high level with amazing goals, amazing pace from a lot of players. So you're seeing great athleticism with women's soccer. And when you're in the US, women's soccer is literally the best, an international team in the world. So you're seeing these women who are winning World Cups, winning Olympic gold medals, and they're in your country, so you're drawn into it. Women's soccer has very good viewership, and also they do very good. Well, the big teams like New York and LA, Orlando, KC, North Carolina, I think Houston as well. They do well when it comes to turnouts. They have a lot of people in the crowd. So they took things into their own hands instead of trying to ask for a handout or guilt people into watching the sport. WNBA looking for handouts, trying to guilt you into watching it, you owe it to them, or things like that. They're not trying to take it into their own hands and evolve their sport and get deals and sponsorships that lead to there being bleeding enough money into the service. I'll give you a perfect example. Manchester United was struggling. The men's team was doing terrible a couple years ago, and 2 Americans went to go play for the women's team, Manchester United, not the men's team, the women's team. Those 2 players, Tobin Heath and Christian Press, which is my favorite player of all time, Christian Press. I have 2 of her jerseys. Those 2 people sold more jerseys than the men's and women's team together. 2 American women went to England and sold more jerseys than the men's team did. They didn't ask anyone to do that. Attention did that. Those are 2 people who are at the top of their game. Tobin Heath has injury issues, but Christian Press is, for all intents and purposes, one of the best forwards in America. So, talent speaks for itself. Going out there and trying to draw people towards you speaks for yourself. Marketing yourself, trying to get that revenue speaks for itself. WNBA doesn't do that. The WNBA kind of just sits around, it's like, hey, watch us, and guilt you into telling you to watch them, and that's it. They didn't want to evolve. And you'll see that later in this video where, I've already seen this video before, you see later in this video where Shaq has an idea to make the game more entertaining, and Candace Parker turns it down with a little bit of arrogance there as well.
the complete answer, but she definitely had a strong start. She's been the face of the league for a while. Now you need a rival player, team, or something that sparks controversy. The NBA succeeded because it was built off of rival matchups. We need some trash talking, a little in-your-face action to get the media's attention. I'm not saying we need another Pistons-Pacers brawl, but a little bravado never hurt anyone. Believe it or not, as much as the NBA and NFL discourage trash talking and animosity among its players, that's a lot of what
gets you attention. It gets you attention.
Anybody who remembers any storylines in the WNBA,
we're drawn into it.
Feel free to leave them in the comments down below. The thing is, there isn't any. We have to stop acting like this is the perfect world, and that the WNBA doesn't need to format itself after the NBA to gain public appeal. The smartest thing the WNBA could ever do is allow the NBA to help in whatever ways possible. The WNBA doesn't have many teams, and half of its teams lose money. They benefit from revenue generated by the NBA's national television and sponsorship deals.
Yeah, the WNBA, for those who don't know, is a subsidized league.
And it's causing the NBA to
the league
money.
Exists.
An ESPN contract with the NBA is the primary source of revenue.
The NBA
for the
had to spend money for the league to exist.
WNBA gets
and it doesn't get the NBA back any money because it makes no money.
Revenue. For instance, when the NBA signed a $2.6 billion deal, the WNBA only saw $25 million of that. In a rare and candid moment, James Dolan, who owns the WNBA's Liberty and NBA's Knicks, told HBO's Real Sports that he came close to handing the franchise back to the league in 2015.
Shit for a long time.
He said that it hasn't made money
because of that.
Its prospects of making money at that time, even today, are still slim.
The clips have really shit quality.
And there's
this is 1080p, but the clips have really shit quality. So also, Down is my favorite players in the WNBA.
As a legacy investment in women's basketball.
I can't even really tell.
But there is a fundamental problem with the WNBA. It needs more fans, lots of them. Attendance fell to an average of 7,308 a game a few seasons ago, almost 2 decades after reaching its peak of 10,000 in 1998.
High school games are
the majority of sports consumers are male.
NBA. No, this is a video on YouTube on WNBA
to lure females into sports consumption. On paper, the idea made sense, right? 50% of people who don't really watch sports are female. Why not try to acquire that market? The problem is, in reality, women consume so many other types of media that the WNBA simply does not compare to.
That comment is big. The reason why that comment is very, very big is it's true. Women don't watch sports. The ones who do, they prefer to watch, maybe like one particular, women's soccer. Women's soccer is very popular amongst women. As well, men's sports are also popular amongst women. So women are watching NFL. There's a lot of females out there who are big Packers fans and Bears fans, etc., etc., etc. They also watch baseball. Women aren't watching basketball unless it's men's basketball, because they do want to see LeBron James. They do want to see Steph Curry. They do want to see James Harden and you know, all the star players. They don't really want to watch Brittany Griner. They don't really want to watch like LaDonna. They don't really want to watch Skylar Dickinson. You know, Janelle. I can't pronounce her last name. It's like this. Not even going to try to butcher her last name. So they don't want to watch women's basketball, but they do want to watch Kardashians. They do want to watch. They do want to watch Real Housewives. They do want to watch whatever is the popular thing on Netflix or HBO Max right now, House of the Dragons, when it comes to the Game of Thrones spinoff. They want to watch that. Women don't want to watch WNBA. They want to watch drama unfold. They want to watch, you know, what the new styles are, the TikTok videos, and what's going on with Cardi beating Nicki Minaj, things like that. They don't want to watch sports unless it's, you know, again, women's soccer, NFL, men's basketball, and to a degree, not a lot, baseball. Baseball also suffers. No one talks about it because they still make a lot of money. But baseball still suffers from a viewership, not viewership issue, but like an issue with attendance. For example, the Oakland A's, they have more people at their at their AA game than the actual MLB game. Like the Oakland A's are having a hard time getting people in the stands, and happened with the Baltimore Orioles. And Baltimore, the Orioles were having a hard time selling tickets. A lot of NBA, MLB teams, baseball teams struggle with selling tickets. So it's not just WNBA, but the reason why baseball is in the same situation is because they make all their money back through revenue. A lot of games are being watched on Apple TV, Peacock, ESPN. You know, so they make their money back that way. They make the money through all these TV deals, as well as jersey sales are still, you know, high. Mike Trout still selling jerseys for Shohei, selling jerseys. Aaron Judge selling jerseys as well. Those big teams, Giants, Yankees, Tigers, Red Sox, they're still doing good when it comes to attendance. So everything else is doing fine for baseball, but there's teams like the A's and the Orioles who just cannot sell out their stadiums.
YouTube and even the Kardashians have higher ratings of engagement and support than the WNBA.
It's like, yeah, shoots in WNBA. I think I might have some for Candace Parker, maybe.
That they are frustrated that women are not showing up to the game.
I'm particularly frustrated that we've been unable to get young women, girls, to attend those games. It's interesting, women's basketball is largely supported just in terms of demographics by older men, for whatever reason, who like fundamental basketball.
That comment right there.
I've talked a lot.
He said that based on their own like studies, they get TV shows, they take like data from what you do. Everyone knows how data works, and that your phones, your social media, all collects data. Old men watch more WNBA than women do because they just like basketball. They just want to see they don't care what it is. They just want to see some basketball. They want to see fundamental basketball, which is, you know, not taking a three from half court, which is not, you know, doing some windmill dunks. They just want to see some nice basketball. Do more to NBA games? Yeah, a lot of women go to NBA games. If you watch a Lakers game, you'll see a shit ton of women at Lakers games. See, women watch other sports. They just don't watch the NBA. They watch women's soccer. They watch tennis. They just don't watch this one sport.
Almost the same demographic that our players are. I'm always saying our players are roughly, let's say, 21 to 34 in that age range.
He also revealed that the WNBA is supported predominantly by older men. That's weird.
It is weird because you wouldn't think it, because WNBA tells you that, you know, men are the reasons why it fails. Men are the only people who are watching it. Like, literally, men are the only people who are watching WNBA. That and, like, the parents of the players.
Entertainment value when you actually watch a game. Don't get me wrong, they're phenomenal players and are fundamentally very, very good. The problem is the biology of it. Women can't compare to men in terms of strength, acceleration, or vertical. Think about a player like Vince Carter. His vertical leaping ability and hang time.
I do want to say this before we go further.
Yet there are only 3 players.
So why do I have interest in WNBA? I grew up in Detroit. During my youth, we had a very, very good WNBA team called the Detroit Shock. The head coach of the Detroit Shock was Bill Laimbeer. If you're a basketball fan, you know that name because he was a bad boy Piston. He played for the Pistons, the Detroit, NBA team. He was, basically the bully for the bad boys. He was the one who was doing all the dirty stuff. He was the one, pushing Jordan down and just bullying all the star players. That was Bill Laimbeer. So he retired from basketball. He became a coach, and he ended up becoming the coach of Detroit Shock. In which, when he was their coach, they were one of the best teams in WNBA and won championships. I'm from Detroit, so I was seeing that. I was seeing a lot of the Detroit Shock being champions. So when you're a kid and you're seeing like your hometown being champions, you watch that sport. So that's why I watched the Detroit Shock, who end up getting, because of how the sport works, how it made so little money, to where the city of Detroit was like, we don't really want the team anymore. The team got moved to Tulsa. They became the Tulsa Shock instead of Detroit Shocks. Now they're Oklahoma.
There's in the WNBA to have ever dunked, and none of them could jump like Vince Carter ever will. When you watch an NBA game, there's always a chance to see a moment that captures our imaginations or even exceeds them. The WNBA suffers from a lack of athleticism compared to the NBA, and unless we make serious strides in genetic engineering, that gap will simply never be closed. One idea
you want to hear for popcorn? Before Shaq said, before you hear, I mentioned that WNBA became a thing in 96. Between 96 and 2022, there's been 3 dunks in the history of the WNBA. 3. Brittany Griner has done one of those dunks. That's the issue. People want to see dunks. They want to see like athletic shit. They don't see dunks in the WNBA, which is why Shaq has this idea.
NBA make them 9 feet tall, but Candace Parker didn't take 2 out of that idea. Here's the clip.
I think that she's just arrogant.
Ago, the WNBA game was here. NBA game is here. Now it's here. I have a way to make it equal. Just listen to me now. You ready?
All right.
We've heard it.
Yeah, we've.
So in beach volleyball, the women's net is maybe half an inch lower. You think if we just lower the rim so y'all can dunk like we dunk, that'll give y'all more oomph than you already have?
No.
I mean, because listen, y'all are doing the step back, the pull back. Y'all doing everything we're doing, but I don't see a lot of people going up with 2 hands and, back.
Oh, it's coming. Opportunity is a
So you don't think if we just
Opportunity is-
drop it to 9, 10
nah.
and a half?
I guarantee
Flash?
Layla, she's into dance, but my next child will be drop step dunking. I promise.
And
Just
even
look
if
at
you dribble-
the arrogance on Candace Parker. She's not even looking at Shaq when he's giving her the idea. She's looking the other way and just ignoring that he's telling her this idea of lowering the rim so they can dunk better. So she's ignoring Shaq entirely for the most part, already saying no before he even starts speaking. She's just exuding arrogance. And what did she say? She says it's coming. She says that one of her daughters, who's a baby, don't even know if she's even going to play basketball or not. She's saying one of her daughters is guaranteed to be a dunker. So she's basically betting on uncertainty of her daughter becoming a basketball player and being able to dunk on a NBA level rim as being the saving grace for dunking in WNBA, instead of being like Ashley Shaq. That's kind of a good idea. Candace Parker, great baller, can't dunk. So why are we trying to bank on, 15 years from now, when your daughter's old enough to play basketball, that she's going to be a dunker? You don't know she's going to be a dunker. You don't know. Genetics might have her being like 5'3". You don't know how tall your daughter's going to be. So it's like you can't bank on your offspring being the one who makes WNBA more athletic. And Shaq's idea is a decent idea. Lower the rim a little bit so you can dunk. He mentioned that with volleyball, they lower the net for women's sports because they want people to be able to see more athletic shit happening with volleyball. Do the same thing here. It allows them to seem more athletic. Girls athletes bonehead like men athletes. Yeah, they're just stubborn. And Candace is definitely she's a competitor. Candace Parker, she is a competitor, and she feels like no, she wants the court to be exactly the same way it is for them as the men, because at some point in some future, women are going to be able to dunk. But we're in the now. Right now, people aren't watching your sport because they want to see dunks, and they're not seeing dunks.
The WNBA salary cap, it doesn't make the league more watchable. Most players have to play overseas during the offseason in Eastern Europe,
This entire clip's
and they
Brittany
earn up
Griner.
to triple their WNBA income.
Look at her just sitting here
Which begs
missing the entire
question, why
time. That was
even
Brittany
go back to
Griner,
play?
just sitting there
Just
missing the
play in
entire
Europe.
time on
The
layups.
WNBA's inability to fully capitalize on its early
Nobody wants to watch
successes
that.
has been acknowledged by one of its founders, Adam Silver, now the NBA commissioner. He said that the league had not progressed as far as it should have, and that he had not focused on it as much as possible. He said, as much as we've done in lending the league our name, the people who have been in the sports business for a long time historically underestimated the marketing it takes to launch a new property. They need to market the league as the best women's basketball in the world, with deeper talent than ever. WNBA players also feel like they're not getting the fair shot that they deserve. And with that being said, that wraps up today's video talking about why the
He ends it with Candace Parker
WNBA is the
again.
worst
Candace
sport.
Parker, Brittany
Comment
Griner.
down below.
Yeah. Like, one of the things, like, you didn't see Candace Parker mention Paige Beckers because she wanted to just throw out that comment of her youngest daughter will be good enough to play the NBA affiliate with the NBA. The WNBA is a subsidy of the NBA. Like, the WNBA gave women's basketball players a league. The WNBA doesn't pay for itself. The NBA pays for everything involved in the WNBA. It's basically part of the NBA. Like, it's literally just, in all purposes, it's part of the NBA. It was given to basketball players just to give it to them, and the NBA themselves has said it makes them no money. I think the actual statistic was that every year the NBA loses $10 million on the WNBA, so they're losing money every single year by allowing it to exist. Yo, pop around with the resub, me dear. The 23 months. Appreciate it, me God. Thanks for resubbing. Solid. So yeah, the NBA loses $10 million every year from the WNBA because it makes no money. It doesn't generate anything. So like, they have all, like, people are like, the NBA is the reason why it fails. It's like, no, they want it to succeed. They have every reason for it to succeed because they're losing money every year on it. It's just no one's watching it. No one's watching it. It's not bringing in ad revenue. It's not bringing in sponsorship revenue. It's not bringing in enough revenue to boost pay and things like that. You need ratings. You really need ratings. Like, I'll use my own content for example. I'm a content creator on Twitch. How much money I make from this platform will be a lot higher if I have more viewership. Because even if it doesn't mean more subscribers, more viewership means sponsors. More viewership means higher ad pay. More viewers on my Twitch stream equals I become a partner instead of an affiliate. So I make more money just by having more viewers, irrelevant to subscribers. But around proximity, if I had, let's say, 50,000 viewers, at least, more than likely, 10,000 of those 50 will be a subscriber. So you're making money. So the WNBA isn't making that, doesn't have enough viewers to make the money. And they feel like they should be handed money when they shouldn't be. You shouldn't just be given money. It's like, hey, they're all basketball players. Candace Parker should make the same amount of money as LeBron James. That's not fair. LeBron James is a different echelon of talent than Candace Parker is. LeBron James brings in so much revenue by himself than Candace Parker brings in revenue for the WNBA. It would be like if I said I should get paid the exact same amount of money as Asmongold. Asmongold averages about 60,000 viewers per stream. Asmongold makes $2 million a year off Twitch. That would be like saying I should get paid the same amount of money as Asmongold, even though I average 2 viewers a stream. He averaged 60,000. It doesn't sound smart. It sounds dumb. It sounds like you just give someone, an equal pay for doing, a similar job, even though the viewership numbers are different. What's the NBA invest? Because it has to exist. It's one of the things where it's like, if they didn't invest in WNBA, it wouldn't exist because no one else will take that money. There's no one else on this planet who would put money into WNBA. If NBA didn't do it, it wouldn't exist. All the players would just go overseas. That's what they do. During the off season for WNBA, most of the players in the off season, they go to Europe, they go to China, they go to Russia to play there because they get paid more money there. And again, it's just more money for them to have in their pocket. But if the WNBA didn't exist, they wouldn't have a reason to play basketball in America, period. I think the thing that women get paid less than men doesn't translate well. Yeah, it doesn't. You can't. Some things you can compare. Someone's doing the exact same job with the exact same outcome with the exact same, like 9-to-5 job, for example. If you're doing the exact same 9-to-5 job as someone else, you should get paid the exact same amount of money. But if you're doing a job that involves revenue, that involves marketing, that involves sponsorships, that involves viewership, that's different. That's a whole different beast.